2 of the Glendale Municipal Code, a conditional use permit can be granted if these 4 findings are present. And they are, number 1, that the proposed use will be consistent with the elements and objectives of the general plan. Number 2, that the use and its associated structures and facilities will not be detrimental to the public health or safety, the general welfare, or the environment. Number 3, that the use and facilities will not adversely affect or conflict with adjacent uses or impede the normal development of surrounding property. And 4, that adequate public and private facilities, such as utilities, landscaping, parking spaces, and traffic circulation measures, are or will be provided for the proposed use. And for applications involving the sale or serving or consumption of alcoholic beverages, there are also 5 criteria that have to be considered in making the above findings. Number 1 is a census tract with more than the recommended maximum concentration level of on-sale or off-sale uses, and is recommended by the California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, that such use does not or will not tend to intensify or otherwise contribute to the adverse impacts on the surrounding area caused by such overconcentration. Number 2, the crime reporting district location of the existing or proposed use with a crime rate which exceeds 20% of the city average for Part 1 crimes as reported by the Glendale Police Department, that such use will not tend to encourage or intensify crime within the district, and that the existing or proposed use does not or will not adversely impact any church, public or private school or college, daycare facility, public park, library, hospital, or residential use within the surrounding area. Number 4, that adequate parking and loading facilities are or will be provided for the existing or proposed use, or other reasonable alternatives satisfy the transportation and parking needs of the existing or proposed use. And 5, that notwithstanding consideration of the criteria in subsections 1 through 4 above, the existing or proposed use does not or does or will serve a public necessity or public convenience purpose for the area. And if the findings can be demonstrated, then the request can be approved. Otherwise, if the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. Now, as far as public notice is concerned, notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. Now, the hearing will proceed as follows. First, I'll read a description of the application. Then I'll make reference to reports from other city departments and other communication from interested parties. Then I'll ask the applicant to come forward and make a presentation within a 15-minute time limit. Then I'll listen to anyone else that wishes to speak either in support of or in opposition to the application. And everyone that speaks, please give your name and address for the record. And lastly, if necessary, I'll give the applicant a chance to make some closing comments within a 5-minute time period to address anything that's been brought up as part of the hearing. Then I'll close the case and take the case under submission, and the decision will be prepared later on. It'll be in writing in the form of a letter which is sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at the hearing or submitting written responses. And that's, of course, provided they provided their name and mailing address. Now, the date of the decision is the date that is on the letter. Now, under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision can be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. And anyone wishing to appeal can get the necessary forms from staff in the planning, from the Planning Department staff located in our permit center. And if you haven't already done so, please fill out one of the speaker cards and provide it to staff. And in addition to being on television, the proceedings today are recorded on tape as part of the public record. Okay, so let's open up the first case, and that would be case number PCUP 2009-009 at 2427 Honolulu Avenue. And this was continued from August 5th. Is that right? According to the agenda.
Oh, the August 26th, I believe. The 20th.
No, the first case.
Oh, the first case. That would be at Honolulu?
Yeah.
Yes, it was
That was continued from August 5th, okay. This is an application for a conditional use permit for on-site sale, service, and consumption, wine tasting of alcoholic beverages at a liquor store in the CR Commercial Retail Zone located at 2427 Honolulu Avenue, described as portion of Lot 324, tract number 1701. Applicant is Scott Starkey. And let's see what we have in the way of comments, although they were attached as part of the staff report. So I think I'm not going to read all of them, but we did have some comments from the police department and neighborhood services. Thank you.
This is going to continue.
Right. Thank you, Shanaz. Okay. And I referred earlier that the next case, the 132 North Glendale, is, once we open the case, is going to be continued. So if anybody's here for that case, just give you advance warning. Okay, so I'm not going to read all the comments. Again, we did have some comments from police and neighborhood services that was part of the staff report. So let me ask the applicant to come forward, or the applicant's representative. So that would be Scott Starkey.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, tell me a little bit about the operation and why you think a conditional use permit should be approved.
Okay. The proposed use, how will it be consistent with various elements and objectives? The Montrose Shopping District is a pedestrian-friendly, community-friendly area. I think our cost-effective boutique wine shop would fit right in with the surrounding businesses and the surrounding neighborhood. Why will the proposed use and its associate structures and facilities not be detrimental? We're not going to be open until the wee hours of the morning. The city's recommendation of 11 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, is more than generous. That will give me a month or two to figure out what the community will want from our services. Is it 8 p.m. that we close? Is it 9 p.m. that we close? Why will the proposed use and facilities not adversely affect or conflict the adjacent uses? We're taking over what is an empty, dark, unused space and converting it into a clean, safe, comfortable environment for locals, businesses, to come and meet family and friends, and hopefully they become our family and friends very soon. Explain how adequate public and private facilities with regards to traffic. The city does a wonderful job with directing traffic up there. Parking-wise, there are 9 parking spots behind our location. I would not recommend that to our customers and our clientele. It's more for the business owners of those couple adjacent properties. There were also some concerns that I saw from neighborhood services, which I would like to address in a moment.
Okay.
The public parking, there is street parking. There is catty corner southwest of us, a 100-lot public parking facility. Catty corner southeast of us, at the end of the block, is a 50-lot public parking, 3 hours, 6 hour free. In regards to neighborhood services, they had some complaints or an issue with an illegal structure of some kind. I have Exhibit 1, 2, and 3, which show that it is not our property. It is next to us. We have a 6-foot wall that divides our space from their space. So it is someone else's lease, someone else's rent, and we have absolutely no bearing over what they did or did not build there.
Okay, is that on the same property, though?
There is a 3-inch, here, if I may.
Okay, because there are 2 businesses in the building, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's these.
You going to leave those for the record, then?
Absolutely.
We don't have those already, then?
No.
Okay.
These are the 2 businesses. That's the storage shed that they had an issue with. That's a separate building.
This is the storage shed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's
And
probably
there's
on a different lot.
Yeah, and that's a 6-foot wall that divides our back patio. We have no access to that area.
Okay.
When it comes to the parking facility itself, I spoke with Mr. Roeder, the property owner, yesterday afternoon. After I received these concerns, I expressed my concerns with him as well. They're pretty much the same. There's a couple of issues back there with a palm tree and some other things that he needs to take care of. I told him I would fax him and also mail him a copy of Neighborhood Services issues.
I don't need these two, if you just want, because we already have that in the file. Okay. What was your concern about the palm tree? Just that it be trimmed?
It's kind of
palm trees?
growing out of the parking lot itself and creating a little bit of a mess back there. The sign, there is an old dilapidated sign that I'm going to be happy to repaint.
Okay.
I will take responsibility for that. These other concerns, I expressed them with Mr. Roeder and told him that I would be sending him a copy of this as well. That way he can address them. I told him they were my concerns too, not just Neighborhood Services as well. And I think that's pretty much covers everything. If there's any questions, please.
Yes, I do have a few questions, in no particular order. Let's see. As far as the operation itself, are you just going to sell wine?
Yes, we will. We also have to have a beer license. We'll probably keep half a dozen beers just for the husbands
Okay.
who don't want to taste the wine.
Okay, so you will sell a limited quantity of
Yes.
beer also?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so tell me how this works. I mean, you're obviously not just having a liquor store, but you have wine tasting. Is it just tasting for the purpose of buying, or can you actually sit there and just order and not buy anything?
You can. You can. Our express purpose is to bring unknown wineries, mostly from Paso Robles area, some from South America, some from Australia and New Zealand, and educate myself as well as our clientele. If they wish to do a tasting, they're more than welcome to, but the express purpose is you taste, you find something that you like, because everyone's taste buds are different, and you buy your bottle, and you can take it across the street. I've spoken with the local restaurants, and they don't have a problem in terms of someone saying, hey, I'm from the wine cave, and I brought a bottle.
Okay.
Is it okay? Or taking it home with them. That's really what we want to be able to do.
Okay, so as far as seating is concerned, how many seats are you going to have there?
We've got 16 seats on the inside, nothing on the front patio, nothing on the back patio yet. If you'd like, and you can give me like 30 seconds, I've got a seating chart.
Can you leave that with us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. It shows the seating. Right?
Oh, okay.
It shows the layout.
All right, so if I just want to order a bottle or a glass of wine, how does that work? I walk up, I sit down, you have waiters and waitresses. Tell me how that works.
It's going to be me and only me in there.
Okay, so how do I walk in there, what do I do?
Come up to the tasting bar, and if you'd like to taste, we'll have on the back wall behind me a list of what we're tasting that day. You can make a selection of that. You can do a little 2-ounce sample of, say, 3 Merlots from different regions. And you sit down at the bar, you do that, and hopefully you find a wine that you love, and you say, I got to get a bottle of this to take home.
Okay. What if I'm not saying, can I just order a whole glass?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
And then you fill the glass up or provide it right at the bar, then I go sit down?
Yes, you can if you want to. I would like it to be a comfortable place where someone can sit and talk about wine or meet friends and family and decide what's going to be for dinner.
Okay, same thing with beer. Beer's going to be in bottles,
Yeah,
or you get
bottles
nothing on
only.
tap?
Bottles only.
So I could order,
Yes, you could.
okay. Now, you may have to, if this is approved, you may have to limit your seating to 8. Would
Gotcha.
that work?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. All right, so that gives me a little bit better idea of how this is going to work. And you have food products of any kind?
No. At
No
this
food?
time, no. Going to do probably catering with DeFranco's, which is across the street, Gourmet A Go-Go, which is down the street. Also said that they would provide some kind of exchange with us. So
Any well, you got beer, wine, anything else that you
we'll
actually
do
would
sodas and waters, bottled
Okay.
waters, that sort of thing as well.
Okay. No, the application said there's none of these uses, no churches, schools, parks, libraries, or hospitals within 1,000 feet. The Montrose Library actually is there.
Right, that's when I initially filled that out, and
Oh, you-
walking the streets, I guess, and
Okay,
my 3 feet is not 3 feet.
okay. Now, let's do trash first. What's the trash situation out there now? You've got another business there. Do they have, what kind of trash facilities do they have? Just cans or a dumpster, and where is it,
They
or
have
are they?
bins regular bins.
Just regular
Not
bins.
the large-size bins. They have 2 in the back of their property. We have 1 right now. I want to get a recycler one as well.
And that's at the, in the walkway area,
It's in the back.
right behind the building, not in the parking area?
Not in the parking area, no.
So are those City of Glendale ones? Are they, okay, so where do you have to put those to be picked up?
They go out front.
Out front, in the street? Okay. What do you anticipate you're going to need in the way of trash? Is one or two, the one recycling and one regular trash, is that enough for your operation?
I would think so. yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. The concern is that we don't want things spilling over into the parking area.
Right, exactly.
Some businesses have a tendency to put trash containers, and then including the bigger ones, and they have no place to put them.
Gotcha.
And then they end up in the parking lot, which is what we don't want. So you need to make sure that if you're just using the regular cans, because otherwise you should probably have a trash enclosure, which you probably don't have room for on that property.
Yeah. Well, it would be impossible for them to have access because
Yeah,
you're going to
right.
go up and then
Right.
stairs.
Okay. Now, the parking area, there are 9 spaces according to the plan. What do you know? I mean, you're just coming in there now.
Right.
In terms of what you know or what you've been told by the property owner. Has it been striped that way for a long time, or?
As long as I've known, it looks like it was striped that way a long time ago. It doesn't look like there's been too
Because-
much service to it.
Because the northerly spaces are awfully small.
Right.
So the question is why are they that size? The ones closer to the building, the size is easily explainable because that was a requirement a long time ago. But
Gotcha.
the ones the northerly row, we used to allow compacts, but not that high a percentage.
Gotcha.
So it's hard to explain why and they didn't generally stripe them that way,
Right.
40, 50 years ago. They usually were at least 8 feet wide. So I'm just wondering if somebody restriped it to add a space when it wasn't there originally, because that's a concern, because those spaces are a little too small.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you're not familiar with how it got to be that way. How about access? Because you have to
From that back
cross.
parking lot?
Yeah, you have to cross another property to get there. So
Well, no, actually, I mean,
sure, we're not going to pick up though. So do we have the roving mic?
Perhaps, Mr. Cross, at the screen.
You could use the screen up here. Just don't touch it, otherwise it'll move.
Gotcha.
If you just point and don't actually touch the
You got
screen.
it. Let's see.
would be great.
If you were to access this parking lot, this is floor and
Right.
ceiling. This is public parking,
Right.
3-hour parking
Right.
here. You come down here, and this is all,
But that's a different lot.
well, this lot services pretty much all of
Right.
4 of these businesses
Okay.
right here. So I've seen people going into the beauty salon park over here, or
Okay.
even up here in the public parking.
Right, that's okay.
So you come down here, and it's all open.
Can you drive through to the other lot?
No, there is a fence here,
Yeah.
and then there's a huge drop-off. I don't
Okay,
know
so you
how
can't,
they
you
got
can't
it.
drive there, okay.
No, you can't.
All right. So what it sounds like is it the same property owner?
The same gentleman owns
Yeah, well, no, the one to the,
these to the east.
right,
He owns these right
Okay.
here. He does not own that one.
okay. So then the question is, as far as, how do you know that you or your customers or employees have a right to cross that property? What has the property owner told you?
He said that's all his, and I can use 20 spaces if I wanted to.
So it's just a-
I don't want to use that for anything other than business. I would not encourage people to park back there.
Okay, but it's just a verbal, there's no,
Yeah, there was nothing in the lease that we signed. no.
okay, well, we may need something more than that, too. Okay, and then as far as access, you've got a rear door, you say you're not going to encourage customers.
Exactly.
That might not be a good thing. Are you going to have the rear door open if customers do want to come in that way, or not?
It'll be open, absolutely.
open.
More for deliveries and that sort of thing, yeah.
But it will be, if I'm a customer, I can come in, whether I'm going to
You could.
walk in from another business or the public parking lot to the north
Mhm.
or your parking lot. Okay. And do you know what kind of parking demand that the next door use, which is a beauty salon?
They're pretty much daytime and...
Daytime? Okay.
I would say probably 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Thursday night, I know they stay open till 9. The rest of the week, it's pretty much empty after about 4 or 5.
Do you know how many stations they have there?
Boy, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Okay. All right. The palm trees, they look kind of like volunteers. It looks like nobody really planted them.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't care if they were removed.
I personally would love to remove them. I think they're not helping the parking facility at all.
Okay. Usually nobody would plant them where they are.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that might be all the questions that I have for now. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody, for your time. Thank you.
Let me turn to our case planner. You've prepared, Gabe, you prepared the staff report, and you've heard the applicant. Is there anything you wanted to add at all?
Actually,
Wanted to clarify or bring up?
Mr. Cross, no, I believe the applicant has well presented the case. I do have a couple of conditions that staff is suggesting, and
Okay.
I believe they've already been addressed, but I'll go ahead and
Sure,
address
go
them
ahead.
again. Staff recommendations are as follows. Limit the hours of alcohol sales to 11 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week. This will allow flexibility in future operations while protecting against the possible impacts from late-night alcohol consumption. The second request is that to require that a new CUP be applied for a liquor store if the liquor store wishes to sell alcoholic beverages. The third condition would be for the applicant to renew the conditional use permit every 3 years.
Okay.
And the last condition would require a zoning use certificate be obtained prior to the issuance of any building permit.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
And we have another speaker, Eleanor Wacker.
Thank you. I own property.
And just
Hi.
give your name and mailing address for the record, thanks.
Eleanor Wacker, 2509 Upper Terrace, La Crescenta.
Okay.
But I do own property on Florencita. It sounds like Scott's business plan is delightful. I enjoy wine tasting for businesses myself. However, I have a concern
Okay.
about the parking in the rear. There is no access to the west out of that parking lot. My building, may I show you on the...
Sure. I said, just don't actually touch the screen because it'll make it move.
My building.
Okay, right there next to the public parking
Right.
lot. Okay.
None of these businesses have ever been open late.
Okay.
Very quiet. I have lovely tenants. I need to protect my investment. I have some concerns. If there is going to be parking here, the only way for these people to get out is to go on my building that way through the public parking lot or through the alley
Alley.
between Honolulu and... That concerns me.
Okay.
Access to this building from the back rear parking lot is not great. Mr. Roeder does not keep this property up that well.
Okay.
And that striping, I think, has been there for generations.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll let you go back. As far as the property upkeep, what about it does he not keep up?
I mean, you were questioning Scott about the striping.
Right.
I don't think Mr. Roeder striped that since the day he put the asphalt down. So, so.
how long
and the
ago-
pine and the palm tree is cracking the wall out. The wall is falling down. So, I don't think Mr. Roeder is that interested in being meticulous about
Okay.
the property.
How long has it been there? How long have you owned your property there?
About 40 years.
Okay, and this has been, obviously, this has been there longer than that.
Yes.
Okay. No substantial change in anything since then?
No,
Okay.
but there's never been a business that's been open late, and I do have some concerns about the future use. Would there be any plans to be turning this into a bar where there would be hard alcohol? I'm very involved with my community, and there's an awful lot has been going on with the property at the Mix, and that creates a tremendous amount of problems for the residents that live around there. And I would hate to see anything like that develop. It doesn't sound like that's what's going to happen, but
Well, there's no hard liquor proposed now because it wasn't advertised that way, and their
Right.
liquor license doesn't include that. It's just beer and wine. So if somebody wanted to come in and change that, we'd be having a new application,
I see.
new conditional use permit. And then we talk about that if that's what somebody intends to do. In
Right.
other words, they could, a couple of years from now, maybe they just turn it into a more standard liquor store. I mean, that's always a possibility. But if that happens, that would be different than this, and we'd be having another hearing.
Well, it sounds like Scott is proposing a very nice business, but I do have concerns mainly about ingress, egress
Okay.
of people coming and going at a late hour.
Let me ask you this. The public parking lot that's just west of your property, what hours, people are allowed to park there most of the the day? Are there certain times posted that you can't park there?
No, but late at night, there's no reason for anybody to park there. I mean, where would they go?
But tenants can park there as well, obviously.
I suppose they can. My tenants have plenty of parking.
Okay. But, other tenants in the neighborhood can park
But
there?
most all of the tenants have parking.
Okay.
And it is restricted, so you would have to, I don't remember if it's 3 hours or 5 hours, so you'd be out there moving your car all the time.
Okay.
But there is nothing that would bring people there late at night.
Okay. All right.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, let me ask if the applicant would like to make any closing comments, or you think everything's been covered? Okay. All right, so no rebuttal. Gabe, anything you want to add? Any questions you want to ask anybody at this time?
No, sir, not.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, then I'll close this case and take it under submission. I'll be issuing a decision in writing. Now, the next case, thank you. Case is located, the property is at 132 North Glendale Avenue. And this is case number PCUP 2009-006. And the applicant is Chipotle, care of Elizabeth Valerio. And this is an application for a conditional use permit to allow the on-site sales, service, and consumption of alcoholic beverages for a new fast food restaurant in the C2 Community Commercial Zone located at 132 North Glendale Avenue, described as a portion of lots 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, and 20, Block 12, Town of Glendale tract. Let me ask the case planner, Dennis. Apparently we need a continuance on this case, so tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, good morning, Zoning Administrator. This case had been processed for the August 26th date. However, we've been posted for the August 12th hearing date. The case file wasn't prepared enough time for the 12th, so staff is recommending to continue this case for the August 26th meeting without further notice. The applicant has been informed and is well aware of staff's recommendation to continue this without further notice.
Then let me do that. Let me continue case number PCUP 2009-006 at 132 North Glendale Avenue without further public notice to August 26th, 2009. And that concludes today's proceedings. It's approximately 10:12, and today's hearings are closed. Thank you.